Hi there, this is Krisha Young, and I am a mind unfucker and worthiness coach. And I wanted to come in here and just basically say hi from my living room. Nothing fancy, no fancy editing or studio or anything like that. You've got the same view that I have here. And um, I know there's a lot of coaches out there, and I thought I would just come in here for a couple of minutes and talk to you a little bit about, why I do what I do, what brought me here in the first place, and why this work means so much to me. So my whole philosophy since I was a really little girl was basically, why are you settling? Like, why? You know that there's so much more available, right? And for me, this was something that came from, having a mom who was unfortunately really addicted to alcohol. So the first half of my life was, not the greatest. There was a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of lack and scarcity, victim mentality, very low self-worth, very low confidence. I actually really hated myself, and I didn't understand why I was here. I didn't think that, I mean, I had all of the deep core wounds, around, not being worthy. I really truly believed it's not for me. Truly, I was like, yeah, it's for everybody else, but it's not for me. I always felt like I was, the person standing on the outside of the window, kind of looking in, watching everybody else have a great life and, have all the things that they desired, like love and success and all of that kind of stuff. And I was always like, well, how come I can't have it? And it felt like no matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried or whatever, like I just never really got the things that I really, 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 truly wanted. And so I got to work on myself over, the course of the last like dozen or so years. It really started after the birth of my first son. So that's part of my why. I have two little boys, and they're magnificent creatures. And if you have children, then I'm sure you would agree, maybe not every day, but most days. And when my first son was born, I was like, oh my God, I really need to get it together in here, because I do not want to repeat the same BS crap that I grew up with. I want to teach my kids something different. I want to be a different kind of mom, but I had zero examples of what that looked like. And so I had to learn, I had to train myself on how to stop thinking so badly about myself so that I could teach them how to think well about themselves. And for me, it was a very long journey, very deep dive into my, very, very deep into my inner world to discover, who am I? Who am I without all of the conditioning, without all of the crap, all of the abuse, all of the trauma, healing all of that kind of stuff, no longer identifying, as somebody who was not worthy, or the alcoholic's daughter, or, the control freak, or the victim, or any of the other identities that I had. I started to see myself as a powerful, intelligent, loving, compassionate, kind woman. And I really, really, really built that up in myself genuinely at a very deep core way. So it's so deep, it's so core that as soon as I hit stop on this, I'm exactly the same. I still have the same smile. I still have the same feeling, the same vibration of energy, because it's not a band-aid on a knife wound. I went super deep into my psyche, super deep into my ego, super deep into all of this patterning and all of this trauma, and I healed it all. And I didn't just heal it for myself, I healed it generationally back and generationally forward. And so my sons have been able to witness their mother, really like feel good about who she is and take a stand and be you know, a woman of integrity and a woman who has boundaries, but also a woman who knows how to get on the floor and cuddle and tickle them and, you know, not be taken advantage of either, right? And not be a martyr to being a mother or anything like that. You know, and that's been a big part of my why, is making sure that they understand what a truly confident, powerful, feminine, balanced woman looks like, sounds like, all the rest of it, right? So when they go out into the world, they'll know what that vibration feels like for them. So whether they end up in relationships with women or friendships or anything like that, it doesn't matter. They will be able to understand and know what that vibration is, what that energy is. And furthermore, they're going to know and understand what healthy feminine is for them in them. We all have feminine and masculine energies within us. It doesn't matter. It's not a gender thing. This is a vibrational energetic, right? The way to look at this is the ocean, like in nature. It's all over nature. The ocean is feminine, right? It's crashing waves. It's deep. It's unpredictable. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And the masculine is the mountain or the riverbanks. It's this structure, it's the steadiness, it's the stability, right? And we can achieve that balance within ourselves when we learn how to balance out those two energies. And that helps us to be able to feel more confident and feel more worthy and just be a whole human being. So that is what I'm teaching them. And I'm also teaching them how to accept who they are, all their weirdness, and which is wonderful, like every little part of themselves. I am teaching them how to accept it because I have accepted it for myself. So they don't hear me talking down about myself anymore. They don't hear me saying anything negative or bad about myself anymore. I used to a lot, but I don't anymore. And so they're modeling this behavior, not in a like, I'm better than you kind of way, but in a very solid within confidence within themselves, that they're like, oh, yeah, so this thing that maybe I'm the only one who does this in my class, maybe I get made fun of this sometimes from my classmates or my friends, but I know who I am and it's okay. Like I accept that part of me. Could you imagine if you had that as a child? I mean, you wouldn't be here, right? None of us would be needing this kind of work if we had that kind of training when we were young. So I'm very grateful for this work, for helping me be able to teach this to my children. And the majority of clients that come in to work with me are mothers. Not all, not everybody, but a lot of them are. And they step in because they want to be a better example for their children, especially mothers of daughters. And they know that in order for them to be an example for their daughter, they need to get themselves straight first, right? And so that's part of what all of this is. Another reason why I do this work is, like I said, my mom, she was an alcoholic, and, you know, I watched her day after day after day, you know, drink and make decisions that were not healthy for her. And I remember even as a small child, just being like, Mom, come on, it doesn't have to be that way. And that part of me, it doesn't have to be that way, don't settle, is my soul. It's my purpose. It's why I'm here. It's the same voice that I had when I was 5 as I do today at 45. I think I'm 45, right? And you have this voice too. We all have it. That's our soul's purpose, right? And so when I started to recognize that, wait a minute, I've been saying the same thing to everybody who I've met my whole entire life. I have been the person who encourages people to just go for their dreams. And I can see what's in the way of you going for your dreams. I can see it clear as day, just like I could see it for my mom. And when my mom passed away, it was around 2015, 2016, around there. We weren't very close. You know, I was like, I had already started my coaching business, and I was like, man, I really gotta like anchor this in and do this work because she died without living. And then shortly thereafter, my grandmother died. And my nana was just, she was my everything. She was like the person who, as a child, I looked to for some semblance of normality. She was the most like me, and fun and funny and laughed all the time. And she was just so abundant. She was joy incarnate. But she, married at 19, and she married a man who didn't ignite that spark in her. And one of the saddest things I remember her telling me when I was younger was, I used to dance all the time, right? So you can imagine this would have been in like the 20s and 30s, right? She used to go out dancing, flapper and all that kind of stuff. And then she married my grandfather, and he was very traditional, and Catholic, European background, right? And so it was like, well, no, you're married now, so now you have children and you cook for me, and that's what she did. And she never danced again. And I thought that was really sad, and it anchored in again another chunk within me to be like, what the hell, man? I have to keep doing this work. I have to, because it's not just those two, there's women everywhere around this world right now that are deeply unhappy, deeply feeling unworthy, not dancing, settling in life, settling for way, way less than what you deserve, than what they deserve, than what she deserves. I did my whole life. And then in 2020, my best friend passed away. And it was quite sudden. She had just joined one of my group programs and was really starting to step up into owning her worth. And she was like, Krishna, I've seen what you've done. I want to know, tell me more about this. And I'm like, come on in. And worked on it. And she was doing so well. She was standing up to family members. She had just lost both of her parents suddenly within a few months of each other. She had a boyfriend that wasn't treating her so great, and she was like, I don't want this anymore. I want better for myself. And so we were like, yeah, let's do it. And I was teaching her everything that I knew and just pouring it on her and pouring it on her. And she was learning and absorbing and taking chances and setting boundaries and telling people like, no, I'm not tolerating this kind of treatment from you anymore. And she was smiling again, and she booked a trip for February 2020. It was around there somewhere, or for March 2020, her very, very, very first vacation. And she died suddenly just before she was able to go. And when that happened, I was like, oh hell no. That's 3 women now around me that have died without with their music in them. So I bought the URL, the music in her, and it was just kind of like the final anchoring that I needed in order to make some very difficult decisions that I needed to make in my life around leaving my ex-husband and making some very difficult decisions in my personal life, because I was sitting there going, here I am telling everybody out there to not settle, to live your life, to be confident, to do all these things. I'm teaching these women all these things, and I know it, and I'm doing it to a point. And so I took all of this very, very seriously, and I was like, who do I want to be? What am I here for? What kind of example do I want to be for my kids? And if I died tomorrow, would I be happy with the decisions that I've been making? And my answer was no. And so I got to even more work, and I went even deeper. I learned about my human design, and that shifted so much for me. And I got qualified and certified and trained in how to do that for others. I really went deep into, learning about the goddess and divine feminine and divine masculine energy. And I trained in Kundalini and in Tantra and breath work. And I put all of the training that I had from, nutrition, I started out as a holistic nutritionist, and I pulled all of that together, and I pulled the Kundalini and the Tantra, and I pulled the human design, and I pulled everything that I had learned, plus my purpose, plus the pain that I had been through in my lifetime and the trauma I had been through in my lifetime. I pulled all of that together and synthesized it all. And I brought it all into my coaching. And I created Feminine Rising, which is my group program, which is amazing, helping women really step into that worthiness and the goddess part of themselves, and really just kind of like get all juicy and, start really loving who you are, falling in love with yourself. It's a very deep program that covers a lot of things that most of the other programs don't cover. And that's why I get so many great results. We go into your shadow, which is that blind spot side of you, that you maybe feel some shame and guilt and all of that around. We eradicate that and we heal some traumas. And, I also have one-on-one coaching packages as well, to work with women at an individual level around being your own soulmate first, and really falling in love with yourself before getting into a relationship, or while you're in a relationship that maybe isn't, firing on all cylinders, and you want to work on yourself and then bring that new self to a relatively good relationship, or you want to bring that new self into the dating world and find somebody who's like not a narcissistic a-hole, right? And also working with women in the business and the entrepreneurial realm. I work with a lot of executives and CEOs and founders, around helping you find balance within yourself and not crushing your face into the pavement, and working from a place of abundance and flow, and really sharpening your intuitive skills, and repurposing and refocusing where you want to go, and taking your business from where it is into the stratosphere, and really stepping into those bigger roles and those bigger numbers and whatever it is that you're looking for in terms of your business or your career. But you want to do it in that divine feminine, rather than that toxic, unhealthy, wounded masculine way, which is what we see out there in the marketplace. And that's why so many women are so burnt out and overwhelmed and exhausted, because they are expected to do absolutely everything, and not on my watch. From this place also, I created the Dirt and the Divine, which is my podcast. And on this podcast, we speak what needs to be said. And this was born out of having these really amazing, juicy conversations with, my friends and colleagues and people in my life. And I was like, my God, we need to record this and put it out there for everybody to hear. So that's exactly what I did. So you can have a listen to that as well. And, I've got books coming out as well. So depending on when you're watching this video, check out those also, including a book on self-worthiness, the little book on worthiness, 10 ways that we sabotage our own self-worth and what you can do about it. So I'm here because there's nowhere else for me to be. This is it. This is my work. This is my purpose. This is my everything. And, I'm devoted and dedicated, not just to being a really good coach, but to being an amazing, conscious human. I study and I live and breathe my work. There's nothing else that I do. This is it. And, I can talk about it till the cows come home. Clearly, this video is probably at least 15 minutes long by now, because I love talking about it. I love it so much. And, it's changed my life. There could have been, if we look at the sliding door moments that we have, like I could have been still in an abusive relationship with a narcissistic, deeply emotionally and financially abusive person, which is where I started this journey when I was 16, and my mom kicked me out. And, that was the first relationship that I had. And I didn't know any better. I didn't know. I was telling everybody else, but I didn't know that I shouldn't have been with an abusive narcissist who made me claim bankruptcy to leave him. So it's been a journey, and I'm very grateful for my higher self, my inner self, for guiding me this whole entire way. I'm very grateful for every person who came into my life who reflected back to me, but Krisha, you're worth it too. And I am very, very grateful that you're here and that you've taken the time to, come along this with me. And I hope that it has triggered or sparked something in you in a positive way to, maybe find out what your purpose is and tap into that for yourself so that you can also be in this space of expanded joy and groundedness, right? Maybe you're going to go and Google, masculine and feminine energies. Maybe you're going to go and Google human design, whatever. I've got these resources on my website. Maybe you're going to Google something about worthiness. Maybe you're going to look at a couple different coaches. Whatever, wherever you go from here, maybe you're going to request to have a call with me to see about working with me in any of my programs. Maybe you're going to go and listen to the podcast or download the book. Whatever you do after this point is fine, no matter where you are on your journey. You could close this and never look at it again. That is up to you. Just know that you're loved and you're welcome here and you belong. You belong here. No matter how you feel, no matter how much you feel that you're not worthy, you don't belong here, you do. Remember what I said. I used to feel that way. Truly. Like, why am I here? And now I know why. And I want to impart that energy on you. So no matter what it is that you've got going on in your life right now, whether it's really shitty or not so bad, but there's things, or maybe it's amazing and you've got just a couple things that you want to scrub up, right? Wherever you are on your journey, it's perfect. Whatever decision you take from this point forward is perfect because you are perfect. I thank you so much for being here. I thank you so much for listening to this, participating in this video, this energy exchange between you and me. And whatever you took out of it is perfectly divine. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see or hear from you soon. Bye for now.